A very good evening and a very warm welcome. Uh, आप सबका स्वागत है at the Business Clinic program. Today's focus sector being garments and apparel industry. I'm Sushma Mothania, Director General India SME Forum, welcoming our esteemed guest speakers today, our mentors, and India SME Forum members, subscribers, and all our viewers who have joined us through the Zoom platform for this special session, the series called Business Clinic. It's an initiative of India SME Forum, and it's supported by our extended arms. First, which is the Forum of Internet Retailers, Sellers, and Traders, and Business-Wise, which is the monthly magazine of India SME Forum. The objective of this series, Business Clinic, is when India SME Forum has been conducting various initiatives both on ground and virtual. And it has been our constant endeavor to help and facilitate our members, MSMEs associated with us, for growing their business, for reinventing their business, increasing their profitability, making them future ready, because pandemic has taught us various ways that our businesses can be run with, as low as no capital, and maximizing profitability through various means of and various channels and various platforms through which you can promote, through which you can sell your products. And all these mediums also serve as a classroom for us to understand what should we adopt or adapt our business to increase profitability. In this Business Clinic series, we are focusing on 8 major sectors, but today's focus sector is garments and apparel. I'm sure many of you have heard these numbers which I'm just about to rattle off, but it is very important for us to not just hear these numbers, but also, create a relation and also find what kind of opportunity exists and how do we prepare for this future opportunity that these numbers say. So the garment and textile industry accounts for more than 2% of total GDP of our country and 12% of the total manufacturing GDP of our country. The global apparel market is projected to grow in value from 1.5 trillion US dollars, which was in 2020, to about 2.25 trillion US dollars by 2025. Though post-COVID, the production of garments did shrink to 27%, the Indian apparel market stood at 40 billion US dollars in 2020, and it is expected to reach only 135 billion US dollars by 2025. So again, these numbers, please try and understand the scope and opportunity that these numbers say. India is the 5th largest country with an export turnover of 37.11 billion US dollars, out of which 19.80 billion US dollars is constituted by apparel and garment industry. India also stands 6th as a leading exporter of garments and apparel. India's ready-made garment exports will see a CAGR of 12 to 13% and surpass 30 billion US dollars by 2027. We've been talking about standing 6th in the list. There was a time when India was at number 2, but today, China, Bangladesh, and Vietnam, they have moved forward in the ladder. And why has that been? Because of high-tech machinery, upgradation of old machinery, low labor cost, enormous workforce, production in bulk, producing high quality products. These are some of the reasons why these countries have stepped up in exports. And if India was to actually start thinking and working in these directions, see, we do have a huge labor force because it offers almost 45 million people are employed directly in this sector, and around 100 million people are indirectly aligned in this industry through allied activities in this sector. So I'm sure if we were to look at automating, technology upgradation, innovation, it would not, rather than being scared with these words that it might put people out of jobs, I believe it's an opportunity where the labor force engaged in this sector could be offered skill training, and they could be taught and educated to actually make their energy and workforce in good use for the growth of this industry, and we could get our rank back as we were earlier. We are all aware of the challenges faced in this sector. I would not talk about money and manpower and market because these exist perennially. But there are some major challenges we are talking about here is the need to adapt to the changing retail landscape and consumer behavior. There are hard to align multiple sales channels and offline stores alongside. There is no stock rotation leading to outdated stock, so the new stock need to keep being replenished. There is increased cost of reverse logistics. There are ever changing regulations and compliance requirement, and of course there is no way to predict the ever changing consumer demand. So there are so many challenges, and through this business clinic we aim to actually discuss these challenges, listen to all these problems faced by our members of this sector, and offer solutions how we could handle these issues, and how in particular, very particular to your own business, how it can be addressed. So without taking much of your time, I am going to invite our esteemed speakers and our president, Shri Vinod Kumar ji, to conduct the next session, where most of our viewers are eagerly waiting to hear from all of you. So thank you very much, and I'll see you later this evening. So over to you, Atif.
Thank you so much, Sushma ma'am, for your kind words. We'll now be starting with our panel discussion on the topic driving growth and efficiency by identifying and overcoming challenges. So please allow me to introduce our esteemed guest, Ms. Tanya Biswas, co-founder Suta. Welcome,
Hello,
ma'am.
everyone. Thank you.
Mr. Madhav Raj Bhatt, founder Indiragana. Welcome, sir. Ms. Seema Mishra, proprietor Maheshwari Creations. Mr. Nitin Kapoor, CEO and co-founder IBA Crafts. Ms.
And
Varsha Mahendra, founder and CEO, Just Blouse.
Hello, everyone.
And our moderator for the day, Mr. Vinod Kumar, President of India SME Forum.
hello,
Over
hello
to
to
you, sir.
everybody. Thank you, Atif. It's a pleasure to have all of you here, and we are going to have a wonderful time talking about the industry and what happens and what most of our brethren that are trying to grow their businesses, make them sustainable, what they should do. So, Sushma ji did talk about the entire garments and apparel industry, but we are primarily talking about the side of the industry which is about how do you create an innovative product, how do you take it to the market, much bigger issues for small and medium enterprises or micro small medium enterprises, I would say. And with respect to the markets, one of the first things that everybody talks about or we keep on talking about is there are a lot of people who are selling the same things over and over again. There are a lot of people who are offering uh, the same products. So if I am setting up or if I am also doing a also ran product, how is it going to be different? Or how will the audience treat it as different? So I'd first like to go to Tanya. Tanya, we have this situation where, the last time we counted, we had over 1,100 people selling saris, making them from all over the. You see, Seema also does it. You have quite a few people that we know that are into this sari business. Now, you also came into the sari business of your own free will because you wanted to do something different. At the same time, you brought a very different perspective to the entire thing. So, can you tell us how does an entrepreneur break the monotony of, we all know when we go to somebody, they say, "Arey, yahi chalta hai," or this is something that works. So we are also making the same thing, hoping that this will also sell. So what is your take on this? Sabse pehle, how do you get to a point wherein you decide what your product should be?
Hi, it's a brilliant question. Honestly, the customer base is so vast. Everyone can do the same thing and still win because you're catering to some other audience and you're catering to something else. So these days, when we talk about what is the USP of your brand, what is the unique thing in your brand, so you should not think about okay just the product wise, but it can also be just an emotion. Maybe I'm just catering to the Gen Zs who see your product as freedom. It could be just as simple as that. It's just a connect that you make. But when we started Suta, we had in mind that we wanted to make saris regular, and we wanted youngsters to start wearing saris in everyday life, and it should not just be an occasion wear. So that is the problem that we were solving, and hence we started making these fun blouses. We started making these breathable malmal saris, which is very easy to drape, and we wanted to celebrate that, and we communicated that. We did not do very typical model shoots that it's very beautifully pinned and ironed, but we wore it like how I wear it, shabbily you can say, but it's achievable, and it looks fun, and it's what we cater to. I think that's what you have to look at, and later when you find your niche, then start listening, is what we did. And when we started listening, we realized people thought that wearing sarees is cumbersome, and it's just making life simpler for your customer base is what we did, and every brand is trying to achieve it in some way. So we started making fallen edging for the sarees. So it's when you if you buy the saree today, you can wear it today evening. We solve that purpose. So I think there's a different niche that every brand can create. And since sari market, the weaving community was so fragmented, and but still sari was very commoditized. but there was no particular brand for saris. There's not many brands you can just name when you talk about saris, and I think that's the gap that all of these new brands are solving.
Excellent. So what you're saying is that you decide the product based on a niche, and you don't go by what is chalta hai. You can decide your own kya chalega, and on the basis of that, you can create a product. Again, here what we are talking about is the target group, the target audience. So first thing that we all come to understand is, uh, you know, if we can talk about the consumer base and the way consumer behavior has been changing over the past so many years. Maybe let's say, for example, uh, there used to be a time when e-commerce was only primarily for, I'd say, 18 to 25-year-olds, because the rest of us were saying that no, we can't buy this TV, we can't buy from e-commerce, then we can't buy saris or textiles or garments from e-commerce. But then we figured out, that the entire market segment with a disposable income is the group that is basically from 16 to 40 years of age, and they want very different things. They don't want the same thing that has been running for very long. But this group also can be found in various places, not only in place A or place B, or if you have a shop or if you have a showroom or something like that. So Tanya, again, I'm going to come back to you. You decided to take this entire thing online and say that we will sell saris online, because we are creating a certain different design. It's not the same, and we have a different target audience than what is normally envisaged to be the audience for saris.
Honestly, we started e-commerce because you didn't need much investment. That was the key, because as it's a high risk thing to start a business, and if you don't know much about this, because we were not from textile background, so it was a very easy pick. But now we have 5 stores, and I think that there are customer bases who just shop offline. There are customer bases who just watch online things and wait for you to come to the doorstep. So it was just an easy step, and hence we started. But otherwise, uh, we were targeting 25 to 35 is the main customer base, 25 to 40 in fact. But 18 to 25 hop along, and that conversion was very difficult because saris, youngsters don't buy saris, they just borrow saris from their families. So we were solving, we didn't think that we could solve that bit, but 25 to 40 was the target. The mindset is slowly changing, but India is mainly dominated by COD. So if you give very good customer service, if you give very good return policies, then people start trusting your brand, and then they start buying, and then the conversion happens with word of mouth. But yeah, I think deciding a particular segment is a must, because you can ideate your language, your communication accordingly. But later, when you think that other people are also joining the wagon, then you can always modify.
Excellent. So, I'm going to go to Madhav. Madhav, you have Indie Garana, which is primarily a heritage lifestyle brand. So, what sort of research did you undertake when you went into decide that, okay, this is my desired customer group, and this is what you're going to offer to this certain consumer group, which are available in so and so place?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here. And it's
Privilege
great to
is
hear.
all ours. All our members want to, get in touch with all of you, because they all want to know. You see, there are so many of us that do not have this insight that you have. And that insight is
Honestly,
worth,
I think
I'd say, everything.
many people would agree with me over here. One of the best things in entrepreneurship is to accept that you might not know a few things, and that really helps me orient myself in certain situations where things are so uncertain. It's okay to not know everything. It's come over a period of time, this realization to me, because somewhere we all start, right? I'll jump straight to the question. For us, the target audience has been first the menswear segment. Much like how Tanya was talking about saris, I felt like there was no offering for men in terms of the kind of textiles as a country we produce. And of course, that was reserved to occasion where like festivals or weddings, and furthermore, only to kurtas and maybe one or two other elements. So I wanted to sort of see where the men's market, can go in terms of handloom, handicraft based items. And that was the start of it. So a little bit of curiosity coupled with my own need and requirement, because I've grown up around a lot of art and culture. So I felt like, there's so much available, so much potential for these crafts to become a part of everyday lifestyle, but they often don't see the light of day. Most of it is exported or made for a very different segment, but for men there is nothing. So the first product that we started was pocket squares, and then we went to ties, then we went to jackets. We're now going to go into shirts and other uh, uh, elements as well. The reason why we started with pocket squares and ties is because I wanted to just test waters, and there is no better way to, according to me, there's no better way than learning from the market and learning from just doing live experiments. I could have spent a lot of time trying to research. A lot of people told me no one wears ties anymore. People, how often do people buy pocket squares, etc. But things like the market dynamics are so different. The market is so large that there is always potential for some product to make its presence felt if you're conveying it correctly. So that's how it all started, and I wanted to make sure that I don't disturb or disrupt or go into any sort of um, narrative where I say replace this product in your wardrobe with the offering that we have. You have your suit, you have your shirt, just add on this tie, show that you're Indian. uh, you know if that's something that you take a lot of pride in, then we have something for you. So that's where it all started. And slowly post pandemic, we also grew into the home decor space. So we're experimenting a little over there as well, because the materials have that flexibility and potential. So in short, I learn on the go. I try to put out products and let the market itself decide over a period of time what they're really looking for, and then modify my game accordingly.
I'm going to go over to Nitin, and Nitin, again, this entire consumer group that we see right now in front of us, very fluid. I talked to my son a couple of times, and I find that he's always, I don't think he rarely buys anything offline these days. From the last 2 years, this is what I'm noticing. But the entire way he's behavior is changing in terms of what he shops for. And I feel there's a entire group of people, this consumer base, whose needs are constantly evolving, their demands are changing, their buying habits are also changing rapidly. As an entrepreneur, as a textile entrepreneur, how did you target your customer group, and what do you think are the parameters that we need to check to ensure that, okay, these are the groups that I've succeeded in reaching out to?
Sure. So, Vinodji, I'll just give you a brief background about ourselves, what we do, and how we do it. Uh, and to answer your question, that what your son is buying at the moment, so what he's looking for is a unique product online. That's something which is very, very important when it comes to e-commerce. As you rightly said, that the common products is available in the offline markets as well. However, when you see the consortium of sellers which are coming together in an online space, and the kind of offerings what they're making it into that segmentation, is something which is driving the customers to go back online and search for something which is very, very unique in the nature itself. So that is the reason you see the lot of demand coming into an e-commerce space as compared to, obviously, offline is something which has been there for quite some years now. It's an established model. E-commerce was a new word 10 years down the line. We come up from a background, we are into e-commerce exports business. So we're doing a cross-border trade business for last decade now, and we've already shipped to more than 150 countries. So with that kind of an experience, what we can say is that the customers are looking for different products online when they're coming to search something. They're not looking for usual things which they can actually buy it offline as well. So that's one. The other part is when you talk about segmentation in terms of the kind of products that you want to offer to the customers. So, we were into a very traditional model where we used to buy clothes, put it online, and wait for the customers to buy it, and then it used to be there in our warehouse and ship it to the customers. What we realized, we did quite well for a couple of years, but after 3-4 years down the line, what we realized is that what has been sold is sold to the customers, and the rest goes back into your inventory. And what's there into inventory is something which is you can say it as a dead stock or an unsold inventory, which will always have a broken sizes, broken colors lying there. And what you will try to do is you'll try either to liquidate that garments to get your capital out of the business and reflow it back to showcase something new to the customers every time. So this was a major problem, and a major problem when it comes to the fast fashion. So we realized that this is something which is not scalable after a certain point of time, and you'll always end up having an unsold inventory lying into your warehouse. So we as a company came up with a model called just-in-time garments manufacturing, wherein we solved the problems into two parts. So the first part being wherein we created an AR/VR technology via which we can showcase multiple prints, designs, and options to the customers, and these images just look as real as you're looking at it. And on the back end, we created a process automation via which we can create that particular garment within 48 hours, right from printing of a white gray fabric or coloring it at the moment. Uh, it almost took us 48 months, 2 years of research and development, and 2 years of implementing the whole story, and a couple of $1 million to actually implement and achieve just in time into our business process, because this is something which was there in automobiles for quite some time. But when it comes to textiles, JIT has never been something which has been explored as an option. We got the process copyrighted with Government of India as well as JIT just-in-time garments manufacturing. So what we're doing at this stage is that on the front end, we are offering more designs to the customer to increase consumerism, and on the back end, we have our downside protected कि अगर कोई design नहीं बिका, so that is fine. We have a luxury to change those designs and showcase something new to the customers, because we are manufacturing from white gray fabric. So be it polyesters or naturals. So all the techniques is something which we have it in-house at the moment. And with those techniques, we're able to create a particular garment within 48 hours as soon as the order punches in.
Excellent. So, what I understand is, for example, Varsha, Seema, both have been in the textile business. So I'm going to go ahead with Seema first. Now that you've heard, in terms of target groups and how do you reach out, and how do you create, what is your perspective when it comes to the changing needs of the consumer? You've been making a lot of products of different type and variety, though majorly handloom. So what is your perspective on this?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, sir, thank you for having me here. So
Pleasure.
yes, when you talk about this customer perspective, it's very simple. Handloom is something where the design will never be like in the market. You will have to create that taste, for the people. So what we do is we have a storyline behind every product. And the best part is we have a cluster. It's a ministry, handloom cluster. So, see, people are very curious about knowing stories of weavers, their families. So, what we do is every product has a story. So, like we had a girl who was 19 years old and she was a weaver. She never went to school, unfortunately. What we did is the first sari that she had woven at our cluster, we named it in her name. So, Usha Sari. So the ministry was also highly impressed, and they put it as a story in the magazine. So this is something that people in the city or metros are looking at, because they want to know the real village, they want to know the real stories behind what goes around these weavers lives, and most important is this historical importance. So when you connect the story with the historical importance, I think that gains a lot of it drags your clients towards your product. For us, that was one major thing. So in that case, what happened, sometimes if a design used to be obsolete, in that case what used to happen is, because we had a story, it went well. That was one thing. Second thing, we always had an option of clubbing the historical importance by getting block prints done. So when you get the block print done, the local bug print, which is again it's hold its own historical importance. So the bottom line is, people are curious. They want to know more about the product. Now people are more aware. So if they know that, yes, if I connect with Seema, she definitely has a story to sell, not the product. That is one thing. Second thing that I believe is that this value addition that I spoke about. And the third thing is historical importance. People are always curious to know, अच्छा ये महेश्वर की साड़ी है, अच्छा रानी अहिल्या बाई होलकर की, अच्छा this design is on the fort, wow. And then that that happiness on their face, which I could feel, one thing. So you educate them, you connect them to the roots, and then you value add the product and give them. So I think all these things helps us to sustain in the market, sir. Thank you.
I'm going to go over to Varsha. Varsha, you have you from your experience, you want to add something to what has already been said?
Good evening, everyone. I'm very glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Um, Actually, I think what each one of you have said is very relevant to what they offer to the market. So, like Tanya said, and like Madhavraj said, each brand has to offer something to the market, right? And that is the USP. And where we stand is that, like, I think I should just go back in time and talk about how I started and why I started this brand called Blouses, Just Blouses. When I was a child, we used to visit a lot of exhibitions, and I have seen my parents, my aunts. We were in a joint family. My parents, my aunts, my grandmother, everybody wearing beautiful handloom saris, and I was in awe of those heirloom pieces that they wore. But I always wondered that why do they wear a blouse which is so like dead kind of a thing and doesn't have any shape and doesn't look great, and it's actually so transparent. I mean, it always wondered me, and that's that I think that idea was there in my mind always, that I should do something about it, but I didn't know what, because I was just a kid in school and all. And as I grew, we kept going to exhibitions. It was like a every year thing that we went to exhibitions and bought handloom saris. So it was like when I was getting married, I thought, let me just accumulate all these saris, beautiful hand woven saris, embroidered ones, and from different regions of India. And then I thought, let me just work on my blouses, because I already had a little bit of a fashion background. I'd done a diploma and things like that. I said, let me experiment with designing. And then I didn't have a production unit. So I went to a tailor and I tried, went to an embroidery guy and tried making something out of it. But it was a disaster, because it was a small tailoring shop, and the embroidery person was sitting somewhere else in the old city, and the tailoring shop was very small, and obviously they couldn't cater to my demands of a design, and the fit also wasn't good. So all this actually was running in my mind, and then when I got an opportunity, I actually launched this brand, Just Blouses, and it was basically to cater to the need of every woman to wear a perfect fitting blouse and a beautiful design with something exclusive in it. It could be embroidery, it could be some texturing, it could be a mix of fabrics, a patchwork, or something which is unique to that particular sari. Because I realize that the saris are so unique, so different, and when a woman wears it, I mean, it's just ethereal, it's so beautiful, like you don't need any piece of jewelry also when you wear a beautiful sari and carry yourself confidently. But I was like, okay, let me work on the blouses, and that's when this idea of doing Just Blouses started. And I think it really addressed a very big need in the market, and people were ecstatic. Like, I saw women so ecstatic when they came to know that you have a brand only for blouses. I mean, really? And what kind of a blouses are these? So when they were, because there was a lot of enthusiasm, and like, like, what are you doing with it? Like, and then when people came over, they were actually surprised to see that we had, the price level also was higher, because we were catering to a niche segment. I didn't want to create a product which is like mass produced, and the essence of the design is gone. I just wanted to work individually on it, and create one, two, or maybe three products which are like unique for each design, and not have too many variations. That's how it started. So it was like a boutique model where we were either custom making, looking at the preferences of the client. Like, they actually walked in and said, we want something to suit our personality. So I was addressing the need of the client to look different, and also something which suits their personality and also fits them well. Fitting was the most important thing. So yeah, I mean, I think the brand just gave that ecstasy to people, that that they could spend hours together in a store where they could get something designed, try out blouses, see what suits them, and give their personal measurements and make something for themselves, or alternatively buy something for themselves. Like, they had to wear a sari, right? And you don't have a blouse with it. Obviously, it's like not finished. Sari is not finished, like Tanya mentioned. Most of the weavers sell it without finishing it. So you have a sari which is finished. You give them finished sari, and then you quickly sell them a blouse which fits them well, and which is going well with them, with the sari, which is either like a contrast or like a perfect matching. So I solved these two problems for clients, and I think that's what made our brand stand out, and gave her the first mover advantage.
See, one of the questions that I've been asked here on the chat, and I'm going to repeat it for you, for all of you. This lady is asking, how difficult is it to set up uh, an online presence for a small or home entrepreneur? Now, this is a very easy question actually, but I'd like one of you take it. It's a simple question, and I can assure you that so many people have a similar question. People find it so difficult that what should I do? Who will teach me? Can I get an agency to support me? But it's not so difficult. I mean, any of you, maybe Madhav, Tanya, or anybody can take this question.
Sure. Tanya, you want to go? All right. I'll just keep it short. I think it's just an extension of what I already said, that you have to get started somewhere. So download or access any free platform. Even WhatsApp Business is absolutely great to get started. It gives you a basic idea of how to play around with your products, with your images, the fact that you need to name each product, price each product, if you wish to show it in that catalog, and have as many pictures as you want over there. If you wish to speak to the customer, engage your customer, have a little bit of limited information over there in a way that it pushes your customer to engage with you or ask you some extra doubts or questions that your target audience might have, and then start to sort of, focus on that customer orientation and develop that sensitivity of speaking with the customer. um, and then again, like any social presence is obviously reassuring. The most important thing in any brand, and with the advent of multiple brands all across India, is that customers need to trust your brand, or they need to know that you're trustworthy, or they need to know, if I pay, my product will come. So you're really solving very fundamental problems, and in a way, if you put yourself in the customer's shoes, you will be able to crack at least like 4 out of 10 things that you may need to get started.
Tanya, would you like to add to that?
Yes, definitely.
Anything?
I'll tell you because in our entire Khandan, nobody has done business before. So it was a big, scary move for us. But what we did was we started a Facebook page. We with technology happening everywhere, and it was easy access for making a website. But we still stuck to just a Facebook page, and the business was there on Facebook for 1 year. It was definitely difficult, but if you think that you want to test your product out and try it out, I mean, the social media platforms really help. And once you do that, there's Shopify, there's WooCommerce. Just Google how to make a simple website, and you have to pay very minimal amount of say 1,000, 3,000 ish max, and then you can have a website, because that builds more trust. And that's it. That's the only amount you have to pay, because you don't have to you can develop it yourself. It's just adding your pictures, just writing the price. It's very easy. The ecosystem has developed really well. And so, if it's a basic thing business that you want to start, go start on a social media page. Otherwise, for building trust, for making it a little bigger, uh, go for a website. And that's the start. And it's fairly easy. Just reach out to entrepreneurs like us, maybe. Ask all your doubts, and I think there would be more than enough people ready to help you out.
Excellent. In fact, I'd like to also go to Varsha. Varsha has also used social media extensively, Instagram and whatnot, to even reach out to customers around the world. So, Varsha, any recount of your experiences there?
Now it's become a lot more easier, to do business because you have social media, WhatsApp, and you can take orders on Facebook and things like that. So it's become much more easier. We even do video call orders. We take video call orders. In fact, I can think of an incident in pandemic where we actually did the entire, like, there were weddings in US, and we took all the orders from US on WhatsApp and FaceTime, and we executed them, and we could manage to sustain, pay salaries to our staff, and keep our embroidery people engaged, and give them the work that they need, and then ship them to US. So I think these instances really show us that we can still survive, even that if there is a really a bad situation. There could be some way out. So it's not just, you're not just dependent on one store in one city. You can sell across globally through whichever channel you're comfortable with. So it could be any channel that you're comfortable with. A lot of people are doing it on WhatsApp or Instagram. It could be any channel. So that's the beauty of going on social media and selling it. I think in this age, it has that advantage. You don't need to run around, take your products and go to different exhibitions in different cities. What we used to do earlier, you can just sit in a city and just sell anywhere else in the world. I think we should all, even the newcomers could capitalize on that.
You see, also one of the things that is in India, you have a lot of these micro and small enterprises that are primarily mostly into the B2B space. So selling to a big bazaar or Future Group or AB Group or any one of the other groups, and that's how they carry on their product. I have a question here from Bharti. Bharti says it feels awesome to hear these stalwarts. However, we are in a mainstream city, no big story to tell apart from real time struggles. But she says we built a name in B2B manufacturing. How can we brand ourselves so that retailers can connect with us or people can directly buy from us? Now that's a simplistic question. Nitin, would you want to take that? She's in the B2B space, wants to get over into the B2C space, and wants to know what to do.
I guess a lot of platforms are available at the moment. It used to be difficult 5 years before, but if you really talk about now, so you talk about payment gateways, then you get 3-4 options there. You talk about logistics, you'll also have options there who will probably guy coming to at your place and picking up the stuff and delivering it to the customers. You talk about e-commerce platforms. There are a hell lot of e-commerce platforms available, each having their own niche of selling the products with their customers. So I believe all the platforms are available online, where you just have to go and sign up and start showcasing your products to the customers. So the rest will follow on into the places, I believe.
In fact, I'd like to add to that. The first thing is, before you go on to any platform or anything of that sort, please, for God's sake, trademark your brand. Do not go and put some brand in and then come back and say somebody else is suing me or they want me to take it away, or
the platforms even are not allowing you to sell any
not
product.
allowing you. Very correct. Yes. So even, for example, the bigger scale platforms like Amazon and Flipkart, Myntra and all will not allow you to come on board unless you have a registered trademark that you are using.
Or you have to furnish a bond or something to them to ensure that nobody else is using the brand.
Very correct.
However, they're looking for only people who are at least that much serious, who have gone ahead and registered their brands and signing up after doing all their basic compliances being filled up.
In fact, that takes me to Tanya. Tanya, you guys set up this company, uh, I'd say from the real basic zero, and two of you decided that you want to put it up, and you have a passion for, why don't young women wear saris, and we will have our own designs and we'll put them together and we'll get this whole group of people buying saris, for all that it's worth. And you are fairly successful. You crossed 50 crores last year in terms of sales overall. And what have you done to be able to get to a point? There's this is in line with a question asked by somebody that, I'm trying to struggle with a small business doing between 4 to 5 crores. How can I scale up my company? So how did you scale, Tanya?
Scaling happened because of people. I think the biggest struggle that small businesses have is that it's a chicken and egg story, right? Should my business grow first and then I hire resources, or should I hire resources first and then the business grows? I think people keep struggling between that, and people think that, okay, I am doing it the best, and I'm really scared to give it away. So for example, we did struggle with giving finance away because I thought I'm really good at numbers, and I don't think I can trust someone with my accounts, everything. But there's a process and a system for everything. We should keep things with us which we really are strong in, which is our core to the business, and rest either hire people or just outsource it, because there's enough support system, there's a big ecosystem for entrepreneurs. So that's where the struggle is. Plus, there's a lot of technology that we need to use these days to scale up. It cannot be manual. We struggle for the biggest time with inventory, because when you're growing, inventory is one major challenge. As one of you also mentioned that inventory, you have to make sure that you are not sitting with dead inventory. So I think that challenge also can be solved with technology. You cannot just sit on Excel sheet for the longest time. So bringing in a lot of technology for customer support, for inventory, uh, for social media, for planning your grids, to the basic system. I think technology is the way to make sure everything is streamlined. But again, product has to be the key. The quality check has to be the best, because you cannot compromise there. So I think these are a couple of things, resources and technologies, where we struggle with. And I think if we adapt faster, the growth happens faster.
Excellent. You talked about inventory. Inventory has on and off been a big issue. In fact, there's a question that I've got for Madhav. It's basically talking about the field of handicraft and handlooms. No single product is the same. This can be an advantage and a disadvantage. So how does one overcome this? And just for a single inventory, one needs to do the whole process. So it is that much more difficult. So this is asked by Devika Dabade.
Yeah, it's absolutely true, and that's the challenge in the business. That no two products, may be alike, but the whole aspiration or the drive for us is to reduce that difference as much as possible. And of course, at the end of the day, it's important for customers to educate the customer as well, that there might be a difference in maybe something that you bought 2 months ago or 1 year ago, or maybe from some other brand which is doing the same thing or not, right? So the best aspect is to focus on what is unique and what stands out. And also, in my opinion, people who are really who understand handloom might not have these kind of reservations for handloom based products. It's mostly people who don't know, and they might not know because of the process that it goes through, and how it's made. So I think it's a part and parcel of the whole supply chain. Having said that, the kind of volumes that we work with are low, so it has to be considered when this entire conversation is made around consistency. Because, for example, if we are doing about 300 or 400 shirts, the kind of fabric that comes out which in handloom will be consistent in those 300, 400 shirts. So it's not really a problem for us at the stage we are in, and looking at how much we want to uh, grow, considering our target market and the niche that we are in. It is certainly not a major aspect that we are looking at. And mind you, these differences don't affect the quality of the fabric. There might be visual differences, but the visual difference also is not really creating a poor experience. So these are some aspects that we try to tell ourselves, tell our customers as well. So as long as the customer experience is unaffected, we are good. And as long as our product design is not impacted by change in the yarn quality or change in the dyeing process, we are good. And the other aspect is, maybe sometimes you have to start with even smaller batches and see how your product is going. For example, if you want to do something in natural dyes, how much how much is the color sticking to the fabric, or how many washes does it sustain, things like that. That is also an issue, right? So it's something that you learn on the go. Again, I keep saying this, but I feel like it's the best possible way to uh, you know move with this sort of a setting where the makers themselves are different, the weavers themselves, the clusters might be different each time. So yeah, that's what I think. And I'm sure the others also have worked predominantly in the handloom network, so they would definitely add more to this.
Yes, Seema has worked in this, so maybe Seema can add a little more.
Yes, sir, I would add to what Madhavji just said. I mean, consistency is not the key when it comes to handloom. I mean, there'll be different fabrics, there'll be different designs, and then the order gets changed. Here, we have to play a key role by being a smart person, by advising, educating our client that yes, if this can be done, this can be the new design. So, I mean, that's the only key to success, because in handloom you have to have pre-orders, first thing. Second thing, if in case the design is obsolete, then yes, what we can do is we can educate our client, and then value addition can help. Like Madhavji just said, that organic colors and natural colors, yes, those orders have to be very small, because it's we who are experimenting, right? So during that experimentation, I mean, if something comes up big, it's luck. But if something doesn't click, then it is we who have to manage it, right? So yes, consistency is not the key, but what is the key is the smartness that we have to convince our client. Because see, we have handloom mark, right? So this is one trust that they have. Okay, they are handloom certified. That is one big thing, because nowadays there is so much of mixing in the market. So such things will help them to have consistent orders, for people like us. That's one thing.
In fact, that brings me to another level. There's this concept of what is the cost of acquiring a new customer, and most small or micro enterprises do not understand this concept of why I need to worry about what it costs me to acquire a customer. I have a shop and I have 30 people walk by every day. Out of that, 3 people come in. That's good enough. How does it matter what is the cost of conversion? Is it the cost of my shop, or is it the cost of whatever hoarding I put up outside, or my label that I put outside, or what is the cost? And we keep on telling people about the fact that it's not just in your shop. Even in your shop, how are you actually, what are you doing in terms of activity or activation to actually bring more people rather than just the guys that are walking by your store? So, guys, all of you, please give us some inputs there. When you look at a business from this point of view, why is customer acquisition which we talked about, various channels, various means, why is it important to have a tab on what my customer acquisition costs are?
So can I go ahead?
Yes, yes, Seema, please.
So I believe that for any new business, rather when I mean they have already established and all, So I believe retaining the old customers should be the prime motto. Instead of spending your energy and everything on acquiring a new customer. Of course, new customers will come in, but I think, see, even if we are living in an online world, word of mouth publicity still works. People do write comments, people do write views. Recently one of my cousins said, सीमा मुझे तुम्हें ये भेजना था तो ऐसा नहीं भेज सकती हूँ ना कुछ भी, मैं तो रिव्यूज पढ़ के सब देख के फिर भेज रही थी. And that day I realized, अरे how important this is. So I think that is also a word of mouth publicity. So retaining the clients who are there with us for 5 years, for 7 years, now how you retain them, what values you give them, and how you drag them back to your place, your online store, or your cluster, or your boutique, whatever. What are those things that gets them back? It could be you yourself. I mean, oh, I love that lady, see the way she speaks, see how she helps. All those things works. I think it is a basket of all those fruits put in together. Ourself, the things that we do to retain them, and the quality that we give them, as Tanya rightly said, that can never be compromised. And then yes, the last thing is, instead of working on what new customer को acquire करने के लिए आप करोगे, focus on them, they will get you the new clients. It happens. In my case, there was one lady, she was a government officer. She was like, she bought 50 saris for a wedding order. She customized it. And then she said, दूल्हे की मम्मी को भी पसंद आया है तो उनको भी लेकर आ रही हूँ, उनके भी फैमिली में वो लोग यही sarees बांटेंगे. So we had 100 sarees का orders. Okay. And then there were few ladies who said, हम सबको same साड़ी पहनना है. It was a heavy पल्लेदार साड़ी worth 11,000. All five ladies wanted to wear the same in one particular program. So this is how it works, I would say. Thank you.
Excellent. So I go over to Nitin for this.
So, the COA is a new terminology which has come into the market in a very recent past, and it has only been integrated into the market to just get the rapid growth into the business. So that's how they've said that what is the cost of acquisition when you're acquiring a customer, because if you're going into the market for funding, at least they would definitely ask you this particular question, because they would want to get this done within next 12 to 18 months, so that you have that kind of a runway to ensure that you're acquiring customers in a speedy way. So once you have those customers, you can obviously get back to them and sell more products. And one fine day, your COA will come down to almost nil when you are a business of that stature. But however, in this, I think market structure, COA has become, it's a marketing dimension that has been extended to a certain version, stating that what will be your marketing cost. I think that's a new terminology for COA.
Excellent. Madhav or Tanya, would any of you want to add to this? Anything that you guys feel that there needs to be added?
So honestly, in the online world, cost of acquisition has gone through the roof with iOS policy change, because people have selected that I need privacy, and your ads can't be shown. And for us as
Yes.
a brand, majority of our customer base, 60% of them was iOS user. So we suffered greatly, like a major deal. So for example, apparel brand from somewhere from a 400 rupee, they have shot up to 1,000 rupee now. The CAC, we call it the CAC. So what happens here is that you have to understand what is your acquisition cost. Based on that, you can decide, do you really want to spend that much amount for acquiring a customer, or do you want to give a discount? It's basically the same. The money from your pocket is going. So do you want to do that? But again, if you do too much of discounts, then your brand value is diluted. So there should be a fine balance between that. You should always understand what is the ROI of what you are doing. It could be as simple as wearing a paper mask on your face and cycling around with your brand. It could be so innovative. You could just stand outside your store or probably outside your area where you think your customer base lives. Pay a person, say 1,000 rupees for distributing pamphlets near the garden. It could be as simple as that. I think you have to be very innovative with what kind of marketing you're doing, because the billboards have become expensive. You don't know what how many people are seeing it. It could be just a brand awareness maybe. So all of these things to understand customer acquisition cost and the ROAS, these two numbers, you can play around and understand where it lies for you, and probably then you can bring it down a little bit.
There's Tanya, there's a question for you from Ragini Shah. He says, I am present on social media and growing successfully in terms of clients. Should I invest in offline business now or wait? And she says, specifies, I'd like Tanya Biswas to please answer this.
Sorry, your voice was tracking. I was able to hear.
I'll go through the question again. It is Ragini Shah. She's asked this question that she's present on social media and she's growing successfully in terms of the number of clients that she has. But should she continue now on online only or invest in offline business also?
I got the question half. I think my network is backing up.
Yeah, your connection is a little bad, but I'll try and explain it quickly. She's saying that she has an online business
Really
which is
bad.
successful, but she wants to now look at the prospect of should she go offline or not, like you guys have done.
Okay. All right. So I think being present where you being present on social media is amazing, and also making sure that you are present everywhere, no matter how the platform is performing today. Because Pinterest is a place where, since we were present from the start, Bollywood picked us up, and now we are seen almost in all movies in Bollywood. That's a plus. Being present on LinkedIn, Snapchat, anywhere, any free platform that even if you don't see a ROI right away, just be present there.
Tanya, are you there?
Be it tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, everywhere. And am I audible? I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's
I
your
think
connection is coming and going, but doesn't matter. We got the gist of what you said, and so what you are saying is basically you anyway have to be any which where, and then if you find there's a certain place that is offering you more traction, then you set up a local thing so that you can provide services and to that local audience if you are getting traction from a certain place. Otherwise you are anywhere omni channel and you should be present any which ways everywhere. One of the things that are also major issues that we find with micro and small enterprises is we do not have a mechanism, or we do not put in place a mechanism to create an ongoing or a lifelong relationship with people. And we don't sort of continue to engage with them. I have this member who is put in a system. She knows everything about the other person, the client, date of birth to how many members in the family, what are their birthdays, what are the, and she keeps on reminding them about all the things that she can do for them. But a majority of our entrepreneurs today, which are in micro and small, still do not get this concept of why and how can they actually retain this customer, which Seema was talking about earlier, through proactive customer relationship management. So maybe Madhav can take this.
Uh, can you repeat the last part of the question?
Yes, you see, what sort of tools, mechanisms do we put in place so that we can have an active relationship management between us and our customers, so that can then help us in retain the customer, also grow our base, and get more people attracted to buying from us.
Yeah. So I think I know who you're indicating over here. The last talk, you had mentioned extensively about this one retailer in Mumbai who
Yes.
has all the details of their customers, and um, I don't really know what to say on this because different customer bases have a very different preference. Like we were just talking about how data privacy has affected ads, and how we can be visible to our own market. Some people might not prefer being reached. Some people may be okay with it. But the point is, the ways in which you engage your customers are also changing. It might not be necessary to remind your own customers about their milestone days and points in the year. But um, I feel the best way to look at it is that you have one opportunity, is the largest point, the biggest point in that entire customer journey is when the customer receives your product. You have that 1 minute, 1.5 minute where that customer has forgotten about the rest of the world and is focusing and looking at only your product and is thinking only about, is this what I saw, and is it the same thing that I got? Is it value for money? Does it look good? Does it feel good? And I think maximum impact has to be made then and there. And in terms of customer engagement, I'm a bit old school in that sense. I'd like to, reach out on emailers, and engage them in conversations and ask them questions. I've tried surveys with our customers, that hasn't really worked. And sometimes you have a different kind of an engagement where you give out exclusive offers to your existing customers, things like that, or programs like that, which sort of increase your brand loyalty. So in all, it, things keep changing, and we have to be innovative in how we keep the conversation going with the customers. A lot of our larger requirements, we don't even meet the customers, but there is one point where we have to sort of convince them, tell them why the product has a place in their entire life or wardrobe, right? So the focus always has to be on the impact of the product and what having the product makes or makes anyone feel. So I really think it's a really small window, and try not to interfere in anyone else's life too much, because I myself don't like it if someone hard sells
Excellent.
something on me.
Can I add to this?
Absolutely, Varsha.
Yeah, so we've had experiences where customers have worn our clothes and raved about our clothes, and then like have tens of people coming just seeing those blouses that it fits well, the quality is so good, and there've been instances when it's just spread through word of mouth. Now it's a different story. Now it's like you have to be there on all the social media channels and everywhere, and reach out to people, and you never know who needs your services and your products, and then that might click. So that is the intention usually when you're on different medias. But it's also like when you're delivering a product which has like an amazing quality and a unique design, and it suits a particular personality, then there are tens of people just looking at it and coming back. So I've had an instance where like one client making 50 or 60 blouses for herself who lives in US, and then seeing that and raving about her clothes and seeing her wearing it and looking beautiful. There have been tens of people saying, I'll blindly trust you, just do whatever you feel is good for us. So, that can never kind of compensate for anything else. If the quality speaks for itself, then it's amazing. It just can sell your product very easily. You don't even have to pitch for it. So that's
Cool.
I think a very important thing.
I have a question here. I don't know who's going to be able to because I don't have anybody from Amazon here. This question is about I did go on the platforms like Amazon, but I have to spend money in order to promote my product. So is it advisable to continue to promote my product using advertising on platforms?
I'll take that up. I think Amazon has a service where you can spend money in marketing, even if you don't have a physical store.
Anya,
So I
there's a
think
little
as long
problem.
as you are getting a good ROI,
You'll have to come again, Tanya, because we lost you. There's a problem in connection, so we couldn't get you. Please come right from the start when you started talking about it.
so I was mentioning that Amazon has a service where they have marketing services. There are people who only are skilled in Amazon marketing these days in the market. The resumes are floating. It is necessary because Amazon works like that. Even places like Mintra, they have marketing in house. For banner space, you have to pay extra, but you can set a ROI limit for you. For example, you say that if I get an 18% ROI, then it makes sense for my product because of whatever margin I have. So unless until you know you have the margin and you can shell that much out, you go ahead with it because that will put you up there. That will make you a bestseller. That will make you visible amongst the whole lot of products that is there. So it is wise, but depends on if you are making money after that.
So there's a follow-up question just in case anybody wants to pick up rest of it. And the follow-up question is that the platforms that I am on do allow me to advertise, etc., etc. Is a long. She's written a very long thing, but finally, when it comes to, I mean, it's such a long paragraph that she's written. Let me try and find the question from this. Well, the question is that does it make sense to go on platforms, because I was told that these platforms only are for the masses where products less than 400 rupees can be sold. She's got this perception that on various online platforms, only products of low value can be sold, that these platforms cannot help you in selling high end or high value products.
So can I take this?
Nitin, I think Nitin wants to take it, then you can come in after that.
Well, I'll put it into a line. When it comes to India, if you're selling in India, it's a very price sensitive market. So you need to ensure that your product is in line with the customers who are looking for it, with the niche where you want to sell in that. But yes, when you're selling online, when it comes to India, it is a very price sensitive market. You can obviously try cross border e-commerce, wherein you might get a better pricing due to a currency leverage. So that's from my side. I can answer this question. Back to Seema.
Yes, Seema.
There is no such limitation to price range because I deal into handloom saris and we were on Amazon for almost 1.5 year. Now, what I learned was. There was one sari which came back, which was returned with the safety pins also intact in the pleats. So I believe that maybe she would have thought of it as a off-white color and this went as a pure white color. So we have to be very clear with what is there in the picture. The same thing goes to the client. That is what I assumed, because there you don't get a reason why it has returned. That was just one product, but it was an expensive sari. So I believe there's no limitation. That is my primary answer to the lady who's asking. Second thing is Amazon has come up with Glow Road. So now we are available on Glow Road also. This is very much like Meesho. So you can have products up to 1,000 rupees. So we have our handloom stores there. We have our handicraft items there. And then this is as good as Meesho. So Amazon has brought this beautiful thing for people like, small resellers, and this grows, and then here you have zero commission. You don't have to pay anything. Everything will be done through their team. They are very active. So this is one answer. I hope this helps. So without any investment, she can be onboarded on Glow Road, which is through Amazon.
Excellent. So any other inputs on this? I've got a signal from Atif that we are trying to cross over time. There's too much time, so I'm gonna request all of you. We are targeting micro and small enterprises in the textiles, apparel, garments business. So, what sort of thoughts can you leave us with for all of them? That how do you, whatever business that you are in today, how do you take that business into a different segment or a different level altogether. Maybe 4 or 5 or 6 points that you feel are very important that need to be conveyed at this point in time, for those that are still struggling to grow or scale up. Any of you
Sir,
can
I
go
believe,
first. Yes,
sir,
yes, Seema.
I believe, sir, I believe creativity is the key. They because no product is consistent, so they have to be creative. And second thing is they have to be opportunistic. Whatever opportunity comes up, they should take it up. Be sincere with it. Like if I share my example, we went through that digital transformation training during the pandemic, which was through India SME Forum. And I never went online. Being a first generation entrepreneur, I started off as, you know, the story, you know, we all know it. So, yeah, what I want to highlight here is this was an opportunity during the pandemic, which we learned and see, we were put into that practice of, you know, daily lifestyle habit of LinkedIn, Facebook page, and matlab roz dalna hi hai post. So, before you sleep, you have to put a post. And I did that. And that, you know, gave me wonders. Google my business page. We never knew, and everyone is on online this nowadays, you know. So I think those lifestyle habits, if you imbibe, I think that would help. Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Varsha, anything that you'd want to leave our people with today?
Definitely. I mean, with the experience that I've gone through over the years, and especially after the pandemic, I realized that we have to be present in all the channels, like Tanya mentioned earlier. We have to be present in all the channels and see where your opportunity is, where the market is like blooming, and you know where your product is most valued, and you're getting a good price. So it could be cross border. I mean, you're exporting the product, you know, selling across countries, or it could be on, you know, any channel, Facebook, Instagram, or through website, or it could be on multi-designer stores online. So it could be any channel that could work for you. So you have to experiment, try which works for you and which segment you're catering to. That's really important. If you're in a mass market, then you know you obviously choose a channel which sells the most in mass market. And if you're in a niche segment, then you choose a channel which sells the most on online, and then you know go forward. So that identifying your niche and you know focusing on that and then retailing there probably will really help you scale. Thank you.
Excellent. So, can I get Madhav in?
Yeah, I think for any entrepreneur, trusting their instinct is really, really important. The market can say something, people can say something else, but ultimately, it is a rewarding experience if you are able to stay true to yourself, and in that process, you always find uh, your unique attributes, not just as a person, but also as a brand, as a business, as a product. And the second thing is that try to be as patient as possible. By sharing this, I am not just like giving advice to others, but I'm also taking it on myself. A lot of times it gets really hard, and you sort of pressurize yourself into trying to do things differently, or mending your ways to suit something else. But yeah, being patient is really important, and trusting your instinct is really important. So these are not very technical things, but I feel in today's age and time where things can really, really trouble you beyond your work, these are essential aspects to consider, and try to practice as much as possible. So yeah.
Excellent. Nitin?
So, Vinodji, I must say this, for as far as SME is concerned, uh, they have to. I think there's no choice. They would have to go into technology. And when I say technology, there's a consortium of AI tools which are available today. And when you really talk about creativity, when you really talk about design thinking, you're able to create those designs within few minutes. I'm, I have to admit that we used to hire a lot of people creating designs, patterns, seamless patterns for all the prints that we need to make it for the customers. However, with the help of AI, we are able to do that within half an hour or so, and you get 30 to 40 options there and there itself, choosing among the colors, and you can change whatever you want to. So, for an SME, wherein cost is the constraint, I believe they have to go with it. Other than that, if they're not doing it, you will have a competition doing it in front of you, and you'll be wasting a lot of money. So I think technology is the key, and you have the platforms thankfully available today, wherein you can use those platforms and play a little more smarter as compared to in the backdrop, and use the new technology to grow the business. So that's all I can say at the moment. For SMEs, I believe that's really important.
Excellent. So I'm going to now go to Tanya and hope her network works. We need
Yeah.
to listen to her tell us what does
So
she feel is important. Yes, yes, Tanya.
I think a couple of things. I think I agree to all of you. It's all of these things are necessary, but a couple of things which probably is not mentioned is staying honest and telling people that what you're doing, why you're doing, and how you're doing is really helpful. So good communication helps. When people know that you're an honest brand, they trust you no matter what, and that helped us grow 3 times during the pandemic when we were honest saying that I'm buying existing designs from the weavers and not designing it myself. And I'm helping weavers with my saved money and buying their stock out so that they can eat. So I think that communication really helped, and it helped us grow. So honesty is one. The next one is networking. I think it's a word too much used these days, but it has helped us a lot. When you are in trouble, I know it is a very lonely journey sometimes, and it's very difficult. It gets difficult, how Madhav said. You have to be patient, but I think networking really helped. If I know that Seema faced the same problem, if I just connect with her, even if we are doing the same business, similar business, but I know that as entrepreneurs, you always help me out. And if I have a problem, if I reach out rather than struggling and doing things on my own, that really really helps. I think for all small brands, networking is the way to go ahead, because we are in the same boat, and we don't have to reinvent our solutions. So I think networking is one thing, and technology, as Nitin mentioned, no two doubts about it. So yeah, all the best.
Excellent, excellent. So that was really, really wonderful, folks. What we've got today is, I would say, best of all the worlds. That all the experience of all of these wonderful young entrepreneurs out there that have made it and that are trying to now look at or help you with their insights. We will be open to taking any sort of questions that you might have. Wherever you are seeing this broadcast, please feel free to use the comment section, put in the questions that you have, and we'll try and get you answers from everybody. With that, a heartfelt thank you to all our friends here who have come here and spent their time with us. We are really, really very grateful. I'm going to now give this back to the studios, to Sushmaji and to Atif. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Vinodji.
Thank you
Yes,
very much.
Sushmaji, back to you.
Thank you. It was a wonderful session. I mean, I didn't want it to stop, but we were crossing our time, and the discussion was absolutely fantastic, and a lot of thoughts have opened up. So, once again, thanks to you, Vinod sir. Thanks to all our esteemed speakers who joined us this evening and sharing such wonderful thoughts. Though we are unified by this sector, each one of you is very unique in your business and your achievements. So, hearty congratulations to each one of you on all your achievements. I would also like to thank all our viewers who stayed back with us and who've been sharing queries and questions with our speakers this evening. I hope we could answer some of them. Lots have remained unanswered as well, but we'll try and cover them through emails and WhatsApp groups and all. So once again, thank you very much for tuning in to this business clinic program. We will continue to have these sessions in upcoming days, and we intend to cover sectors like grocery and gourmet, furniture and home decor, kitchen and electronic appliances, health and personal care, gifting and toys, books and stationery, sports goods and fitness, fashion and lifestyle. So we would be covering these sectors in the next 2 months. So keep doing business and stay tuned. Have a great evening and all the best. Thank you very much.